Talk about extraordinary. Today, I have a guest with me that wrote an extraordinary book because she lives an extraordinary life and she's seen an extraordinary vision for herself. You like that?
I like how many times you use that word. That's good.
Yes, extraordinary, because it's a word I don't think it's used often enough.
Absolutely.
In everybody's life, and it's about positivity and mindset and the belief that you can be better than you think you are. So I'm Michelle Walker. This is my podcast, Smart Money Moves. And today's podcast isn't so much about smart money moves, about the moves that are smart, right? The moves that are smart.
It's smart. It's being smart. Yeah.
It's being smart. And today I have Colleen Souza with me. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Michelle. I'm very excited to be here.
Awesome. I was so excited about this. I've had people on here like financial planners, and I've had people on here talk about living wills and trust attorneys, and those are pretty smart money moves, right? The things that you need to do in regards to building your financial future. But when I think about the future and on a personal level, I think about the inside job.
Absolutely.
The inside job.
Yeah.
You start with successful. You start with being able to do all those things, making those financial moves, when you start working on the mindset that you can, and how do you get there? You have to develop the interpersonal relationship with yourself. You have to develop a mindset of success. You have to develop a belief system that is not false or negative.
And that's imperative.
Right?
It's non-negotiable.
And we all know that we live in a world where social media can be, can feed into a false narrative, into a false belief system, into a complex or an insecurity or, and I know for me, this show is also about having that mindset, having that. So let me tell you something. She wrote this book called Living with the Mantras. And you guys, I am in the Audible version right now in my car on the way home and on the way to work.
Which makes me so excited.
I know. And she's the Audible voice in the Audible version. So you really get all the emotion, the raw emotion of what she's writing. But I smile and I laugh.
Which was the goal.
Yeah. And I think to myself, I need to do that more often.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to talk about this today. And I just want to start by asking you the question I'm sure everybody's going to want to hear is, how did this idea develop? And and how long did it take to actually bring to fruition? And just tell us about
it's a
the
life
love
story
of this book.
Okay. It's a life story. So I am I like to say I have more hats than a milliner's shop. I've worn a lot of them over the years, and you've known me a while, so
I have.
You do know about that. But I am a mom of 3 incredible kids.
Yes,
and they're all grown up and adults now. They're 32, 29, and God's biggest blessing. She's just going to be 21 in a few months. So I have a span of I crossed from the millennials into the Gen Zers, and I have a little bit of all that experience. I have a fabulous husband and best friend of 36 years. It come a couple weeks from now, we'll hit 36. And
happy anniversary.
Why, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've been a classroom teacher. I've been a real estate.
Yes.
And been successful in all of it.
And let me tell you, what a successful real estate business that is.
Well, it's been an interesting walk. I started as a classroom teacher out of college, and I did that for over 20 years and was very successful in it. I was a teacher trainer for the school district that I worked in. I was a California League of Middle Schools Teacher of the Year nominee. I did lots of different wonderful things, traveled around the country, got to speak on teaching technology standards integration in Clovis Unified. If you're here local in the area, I helped to start their laptop program back in the day. So I got to do a lot of great things and had a lot of great success. Students get top scores all the time. Had these 3 kids, and in both situations, I often had people say, "So what did you do?" My kids could look you in the eye. They could have a conversation with adults, even at a very young age. They got along, and they didn't have too many public meltdowns. And so people were always going, "Gee, what is it that you do?" And so I started to pay attention, and I had that same success in the classroom. So I started to pay attention when I was asked to help facilitate other teachers understanding what I was doing. Then I launched into real estate when our two oldest children started college. That's a lot of bucks going out the house every month to pay for two college tuitions at the same time. So I came on board with my husband to support him and honestly begin to put this book together. That was 15 years ago. And within a couple of months,
sat marinating.
I started having too much fun with him, and we started to have too much success. And then we became, we're now what are called icon agents with EXP, but we just had a great time, and we were selling away and paying for college and living life and having a good time. And as we began to have a lot of success in that, the same questions, what are you doing? And I noticed that there was a common theme throughout all of it, that we were using the same core principles to raise our children that I was using to find success in the classroom, that I had found success in our real estate company.
That's right.
And so finally, when I got the last one just about off to college and really independent, when she was in her senior year of high school, I sat down and started writing the book. Because I turned to my children and I said, okay, in our household,
was it that pivotal moment though that she was finishing school? I
knew my life was headed in a new direction. And unlike many of our closest friends that we have to this day, had kids at the age of my older children, and so they're closer to our age because we were the old people. We were the old people raising the little one. But with that being said, it was me knowing that life was going to pivot and we were going to become empty nester.
Yeah.
Finally,
what am I going to do?
I had one under the age of 18 for 30 years in my household. So I had, it'd been a little bit.
It was our role.
So it's time. But it was all of that put together. And when we raised our kids, we called them mantras. And mantras, and everyone's like, oh, mantras. No, it's not. We're not out meditating. Yeah. What it was for us is they're quotes, they're phrases, they're proverbs. You can call them whatever you want. They're just statements that we derived meaning from. And when we said it, it meant whatever that value. So let me give you an example. Rule number 1, if you ask for rules number 1 through 3 with my children, they'll say them in unison. And it's always hilarious because I'll shout it out loud when there's a crowd around. I'll go, hey kids, what's rule number 1? And in unison from wherever they are, they'll go, keep your pants on. And it's because rule number 1 in our house was keep your pants on. And keep your pants on meant, it came about because of a situation with our son. He used to just grab us when he was stressed when he was a little guy, and he'd sit there and he'd just grab his little pants. And so I'd always go, dude, keep your pants on, make a better choice. Don't get so stressed out. Mm-hmm. So for us, it became about choices. Yeah. And it's not too far off from what the metaphor means. So that was rule number 1. Rule number 2 was if it's wet and it's not yours, don't touch it. That was our second mantra. And that just meant self-control. Yeah. That was all about self-control.
People can probably take this out of context a little bit, but please don't.
Yeah, it's self-control. Yeah. And then number 3 was leave it better than you found it, which was respect. After that, they all had different ones. And so they began to think about it. And I had under the little blotter on my real estate desk, they would call or they'd say, hey, Mom, I was thinking today, you got to put this one in the book. Because they knew I was working toward it for a few years. See. So I'd jot it down and keep it under the blotter so I wouldn't lose it. And I'd always look at it because I'm all about, don't forget this is a goal. And so eventually I had this list in my oldest daughter, and I narrowed it down to 20 of them. And then it became 21 because about a year and a half ago, my son, who had worked in real estate, Michelle's worked with him before.
Oh, and I love him.
He called me one day coming from a meeting. He doesn't live here in town. He doesn't work in real estate with us anymore. And he's like, okay, Mom, please begin with the end in mind on that list. And that's because, he's like, I just came out of a meeting where nobody thought about what this was going to look like. And it's just driving me crazy and we're having to rebuild it. So please put that in your book. None of these, because if you just hear that one, that's a Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We didn't create any of our mantras. We just heard them. They made sense. We adapted them.
Right.
And what's more important than the mantra itself
and gave them a deeper meaning
was it the value that it represents. Right. And they're things like choices. They're things like integrity, vision, character, overcoming obstacles, generosity. There's 21 of those. And really, I like to say...
So you categorize them by
the values
by
that
their
they
emotional
represent.
Value.
By the values they represent. And the reason that my children were great and are great, and the reason that I had success in the classroom and the reason that we had success in our business wasn't because of the crazy sayings. It's because of the values that we taught or that we upheld through those sayings. And they're on the walls. And to this, I mean, there are hundreds of them. If you walk into my office/studio, I have a wall of like 50 pictures of my family with quotes all over them.
Oh, I see the wall of pictures.
Yeah, it's no. I have
now there's quotes.
There's a new one, and I have a new little office that we built off our garage, and it has quotes that I've embedded in them. But it's because each one of those represents a thought that has value, and that's what's most important. So that's where this came from. And I finally, a few years ago, sat down and wrote it.
And now it's a realized dream.
And now it's here.
And so I just to let you guys know, like, this is launching itself into so many other things.
It
and
is.
And I know I want you to talk about those, about your vision for where you want this to go and what you're already seeing. But and just kind of a funny little side note. Look, so I had a mantra when I was raising my children, and I stuck it on my refrigerator.
Okay.
And you're gonna love this one. Poor planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine.
Yes.
And that's consideration.
Yeah, it is. And that's just
right.
It.
And so they used to get so mad at me and be like, because they would call me, I have to be at practice in 10 minutes, Mom. I'm at work. I have to be at practice in 10 minutes. Mom. Can you come get me and take me over here? Like, okay, let me just drop everything I'm doing because what I'm doing is clearly not important.
Right. Yeah.
Because yours is so much more important.
Right.
And get you where you need to be when you knew that you had practice at 8:00 this morning, but couldn't tell me then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, and so they like, yeah, I guess so. And they would see the importance of time consideration.
Oh, absolutely.
And if we're considerate. And so now, like, they hated it then, but they appreciate it now.
Absolutely. And that's the subtitle on it, the common sense wisdom for extraordinary living. It's really about that common sense, and it's really about those values and principles, because if we have them, we live nicely with the world around us.
And they're simple.
We have success, and we have opportunities. And when you're talking about, financial success too, we have that. We have opportunities that would never have arisen because we didn't get out there and do things or meet people or provide ourselves opportunities because we're there and we're prepared.
That's right.
It's such a huge part of it.
and the difference that we make in people's lives is not always about what's in it for us.
No.
It's never, let me just rephrase that. It's never about what's in it. Because the moment that it does become about what's in it for me financially, is the minute you lose your why. It's the minute that you lose the spiritual awakening of self. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can do something for a client and know that, just see the gratitude and the gratefulness in their eyes because I made a difference in their life.
Right.
That's a spiritual awakening for me.
No, it is.
So
I talk about that, like one of it's one of Brian's favorites. Number 20, mantra number 20 of the 21 in the book is always stop at the lemonade stand. That was a phrase in our house. Always stop at the lemonade stand.
I like that.
It represented generosity.
It
represented exactly what you're talking about. It represented the idea that when we look outside of ourselves, then we're absolutely. I share studies. So I also have a master's degree in education and psychology. So I have all that research, and I just so you know, if you read the book, it's not just me blabbing some thoughts. It's me putting together studies that help support what we see in life, what we experience in life, and why it works. But with generosity, we would always stop at the lemonade stand whenever, and to this day, our kids will tell us, they'll call us, and it's so funny. If it's an actual lemonade stand, they'll send us pictures. They'll do whatever. Like my daughter, who's Gracie, who's in college still. She's an engineering major down at Arizona State. She was home doing an internship this summer. And one afternoon when she came in from her internship, I was out in my office, and she walks in and she tosses me this little plastic heart. And it has a little bracelet inside of it. And I looked at her and I go, "What, you love me?" And she goes, "Well, I do, but there's a little girl selling those to go to camp." So I gave her a 20. And I just wanted to let you know, it wasn't a lemonade stand, but it was close. And she walked out of the room, right? She just got home, was off to go do whatever. But I have it sitting on my desk because it's a daily reminder. But it was hilarious because we were down at ASU a few weeks ago for Parents Weekend. And okay. Oh, these Gen Zers. So my daughter and her little girlfriends had all the parents there. They loved having us there. We go every year to this. But this year, they actually rented a party bus. And they got all the parents together and they had this luncheon. And then they took us out to all these events. Yeah. Which included some frat parties.
Have you ever been on a party bus?
Oh, I have. But not with a bunch. Not when I'm almost 60 with a bunch of 20-year-olds.
I did that in college. And let me tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a little different when you're looking back at it by now. Mm-hmm. And so we were hitting all the frats. And we were... because she's a sorority girl and all of that. So it was the way to do it. Most of the parents were just sitting there going, and we pay for this? Do we encourage this? Yeah. What the heck? And we threw it, by the end of the day, we were having a great time with them. But we stopped at one of the houses and down there at ASU, a lot of the fraternities have houses in neighborhoods. It's a little bit different. And they have them in neighborhoods on these cul-de-sacs. And they apparently let the neighbors know, hey, we're going to have a party today from here to here. Please don't call the cops, blah, blah, blah. This one mom was brilliant. She was right next to it. She had her 2 daughters out there because she knew all these people would be passing by and a lot of them were coming in Ubers. And our party bus put up a lemonade stand. They had a lemonade stand and they were selling cookies. So I stopped because I'd met all the parents and they knew this book came out. I go, it's a lemonade stand. I'll be videotaping you. You're all going to stop and buy lemonade. And it was awesome for these little girls because these dads that were with us were giving them 20s and 100s. And the moms just looking at it and I'm like, it's brilliant. But the idea behind it is that those kids are learning that hard work pays for something. Yes. I mean, that it pays off. And we'll stop. I always, if I see one, I will pull my car over. I'll flip a U-turn. And often I don't really need their lemonade. No. I don't want their lemonade. No. But I'll have them come up to the car. Or if I can park, I'll get out. And I'll say, I'm going to give you each $5 if there's kids. Or here's a $10 bill. And they just look at you. And I'm like, here's why I'm giving it to you. Yeah. Never forget that you have the ability to work hard to earn your money. That's right. I talk to them about being an entrepreneur. I give them a little talk and the moms are always in the background going, thank you, But it goes beyond just that. That's the phrase. That's what it meant. But it's really about learning that when we give of ourselves, we get a whole lot more in return. Absolutely. You think you're losing something to give it away, but what you get back in the generosity of human spirit, the love of others, the respect of others is so huge. So
it's the biggest gift. It's beyond money.
Oh, it is.
It's beyond money. Okay, so tell us about, we were having a conversation before we actually started this about the vision of where this is going and what's already kind of starting to happen behind this would be, I think it's going to be a movement.
I do. I'm calling it the Mantras movement. I do have that vocabulary out there.
It's not just a book, you guys. Yeah. It's going to be a movement because it's a game changer.
It is. I really think
it is. And as I was looking, through some of the... because when you're going through Audible and you look at books of this type, like nothing really, there's some stuff out there. Obviously, there's some self-help books and there's all kinds of things you can get. But the principle of living by the mantras is, there's really, I didn't see a lot. There's not a lot out there. I think the simplicity of these, and the funniness and the mood lightening of, you know what I mean? Because they can be quite comical as you read.
Well, yeah, I like to say I'm a combination of when somebody asked me once before.
She's hilarious, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. Some people call it hilarity. Some people call it sarcastic. But I'm real. I'm very real. Yes. When I was growing up, my mom loved to read Irma Bombeck. I don't know if you ever did. Oh my God.
The grass is always greener around the septic tank.
Yes, exactly. So my mom was,
I love Irma.
Irma was wonderful, and she was sarcastic, and she was real, and so that was always my thing. Like, I want to write like her one day. And then, Tim Ferriss and some other people have inspired me, and I'm like, okay, I want to be that kind of frank, very honest, but humorous. Yes. Because life, positivity is a big thing behind this. And when we talk about, so where is this headed? And I think it really does. I have to keep going back to the theme of good financial decisions. If you have a passion in your heart, yes, whether it is to support someone else, to be an entrepreneur or whatever, you've got to go with it. I sort of tripped into real estate on accident. I was only supposed to be in the background, and I don't know how many homes I've sold now personally.
Oh gosh, a lot.
But it was all about loving people and helping people. That's why it worked for me. Yeah. But now I'm shifting into this. I have a passion to help people understand that if their mindsets are in the right place, they can be they can live their best life. They can have their personal best. And it's behind being positive. If you listen to the book, and I talk about this about myself in the book, I'm always been a girl with the glass half full. And I've always been the girl that like sees I like unicorns and rainbows, leave me alone. You know, I like to be happy.
Butterflies are cool.
And I really don't care if everybody else around me isn't. I'm going to find a way to turn it to happy. And that doesn't mean that I don't accept that there's crap in life. Forgive me if that's an okay word to say
absolutely.
on this podcast. But the bottom line is, you know, it's going to come at you. And one of the mantras is we're about solutions, not problems. That's right. That was a line in our house.
Because you can swim
overcome
in
obstacles.
The problem.
Well, you can have it, identify it, talk about it, cry on my shoulder for a while, then get your butt out there and do something about it.
Right. Now,
because now it's time to say, okay, we have a problem. Come up with I talk about this. You have to come up with 3 solutions, because then you discover it's not just about yourself, it's about the other people involved, and you come up with something you believe in. But when you ask where this is headed, I believe in it. And so I really want to see other people find that positive. We're living in a time when it's not just the social media. There's just so much negative energy in our world right now. Right. And I don't know that there's more negative energy than there's ever been. I'm a very practical person. I feel like it's coming at us because of social media and everything. And I feel like we have access to the negativity at a level we've never had it before. And I want to push people to the positive.
That kind of stuff.
Well, and so I want to see people have that opportunity. So I have the book. There'll be a companion study guide workbook, whatever we'll call it, that is coming out in the new year. Because I think whether you want to use that in a book club, if you want to use that in an office setting, if you just want it one-on-one, it's a way for you to review and think about. Yes. Because I constantly ask the question, these are my mantras.
Yeah, you know, I'm a team,
what's your mantra?
Team lead here, right, for a group of up-and-coming loan officers. I mentor them. And so what a great way for me to use this to inspire.
Right. I mean, you can,
and
this book
Scott can use it to,
absolutely.
You know, because we have a mastermind every Friday.
Right.
And we could literally use that workbook in a mastermind group and
talk about it and think about it. And I ask at the end of every chapter.
One of our classes. I mean, there's so many ways that could be.
So there's
corporations,
the beauty is I've spoken with and been on a number of podcasts, and it works as well for business and corporations. Absolutely, you can integrate it that way. I've been on this wonderful mom podcast of these entrepreneurial moms. They call them mompreneurs, and they were just talking about the idea of how do we integrate, you know, the juggle the mom versus, you know, being a business owner, and the same concepts. I'm like, well, you know, I share, you know, one of the things that I talk about in here is gratitude is huge. And so I say, you know, the concepts that you teach gratitude with, in our house, you might have a gratitude jar where everybody drops something in so that on the bad days you can pull it out and go, look what was good. In an office, it might be just that you make it a habit of sending out a gratitude email once a week, or have a stack of Post-it notes so that people can come by and stick on the computer for somebody a thank you that you're grateful for. The applications may look different in a house versus in an office, but the concept behind teaching one another to be grateful for what we have around us is the same. So the other thing is that, there'll be modules that I'll be out speaking and training in businesses as a piece of that, and doing it both virtually and physically present.
So exciting.
And then my podcast launched in December, and it's called What's Your Mantra? Because it takes the idea of, you know, taking a look at these values, and I'll share my mantra, but then it's really about the values. So if there's something that sticks for you better, what's your mantra? Yeah. But the bottom line is, how are you reminding yourself on a daily basis to make good choices, to have integrity, to believe in yourself, to be authentic,
and how
whatever
we need
it
to
is.
Be reminded.
Yeah. So there's all of that, plus just getting out, speaking, and sharing the word, because I just think it's valuable.
You know, girl, I'm going to just tell you right now, like, can you see this? Like, I don't know. Can you see the excitement in it? I don't know if you can see it. I mean, it's really not that bright. Anyway, you glow. You glow.
Well, thank you.
You can tell it comes from your spirit. It's coming from within your heart.
Oh yeah, it is.
Like, this is something that's bringing you, like, yeah. And you know, and as moms, you know, our children are like the best things that we've ever done, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But our story's not over.
Oh, it isn't.
Like, our story is not over at that moment when they fly. And I remember when my last one left the house, and I told myself, it was so funny. I told myself, well, I'm going to be an empty nester now. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. Like, what am I going to do? You know, and then he left, and I was like, where are you going?
Yeah.
There's schools here. You don't have to go to Colorado. There's nothing. There's schools here. And I don't even know how to cook for two.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. But like I had to find a new purpose.
Yeah.
Like, and there, you know what I mean? I've got some stuff I do in my personal life that I know I had been sitting on for a little bit. And, and you know, God just said, poked it.
Push you.
Poke.
Well, that's just it.
And that's what but you listened.
Yeah.
How many of us listen to that spirit within us that tells us that we have an idea,
Absolutely,
a passion or a purpose for doing something? And it could start with as simple as something as a mantra.
Well, and that's just it. And that's what I spend a lot of time doing.
I
And
love this.
There's so many conversations to have in here at any level and in any place. And I think that it's vital, that it's important, because I think something that we all learned going through the whole fabulous COVID experience and isolating ourselves,
right.
I think it's where this became most significant, is understanding how important it is to interact with each other, to look toward our futures, and when we get back out there, it's like some people have forgotten some of those common sense pieces about how we treat one another, how we act in public, how we present ourselves. And so it's a reminder, and I'm discovering how many people are so ready for that message, or so willing to be listening to it. And so it's a lot of fun to be the vehicle of that. And every time I get on a podcast or talk with anybody or do any training, people get so excited. So that excites me.
I'm excited. I mean, the more I listen and read, and I can't wait to get. I mean,
I'm excited that you're listening to it. I want you to be the first person I can say, okay, because it's funny. My own children, my son likes to say to me, he was dying to hear the book, to see it in its final form. And you know, my son said, "You'll know how." Like, he's a very driven kid.
He is.
He wanted to see it. He's
an emotional being, and
so
he's wonderful.
I sent him the digital version. It was called the ARC. It had, you know, it's got all that watermark stuff on it. I go, okay, you can start listening to it, reading it. It's in PDF. And he said he was reading it quietly to himself, and all he could hear was my voice. And he said, "But Mom, after about 7 minutes, I realized I'm never going to get a word in edgewise, because that's like my voice in his ear."
Funny.
So he started to have the computer read it in a digital voice. And I go, "You don't need to do that. You can get the audiobook." And he's like,
listen.
7 hours of listening to you talk without being able to talk back? No way.
Oh my gosh. See, I love that. I mean, yeah, that's funny.
No, but it's just, yeah. None of my kids, I asked my one who loves audiobooks today, I was talking to her and I go, "Have you downloaded it?" She goes, "I'm going to try to read it, Mom." Okay. You don't want to listen to me either.
Well, that's only 3 out of 50 million. You know.
Yeah, no, I know. If you don't know me, if I'm not your mother.
Yeah, but I love listening.
You
and I have had many beautiful conversations.
Oh yes, we have over the years, and I appreciate them. So
yeah, and I just want to thank you. So much,
darling. Thanks so much for having me.
And this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, and you can go anywhere. So I'll do my quick pitch here.
Yeah, please.
Livingbythemantras.com, and when you post this, I'll give you a link. I'll send you a little link. You can get it anywhere books are sold, and be watching, because like I said, we'll have the partner companion book and different classes and things you can do soon. And I love it.
Me too. I'm so excited. Thank you again.
Thanks, Michelle.
Okay, guys. So yeah, what a great. I just feel energy right now. And so thanks so much for tuning in. And remember to like, subscribe, and share if you love the content. And we appreciate you and those of you who follow. So I hope that everybody has the most amazing and extraordinary day, and get the book. See you later. Great. I just feel energy right now. And so thanks so much for tuning in. And remember to like, subscribe, and share if you love the content. And we appreciate you and those of you who follow. So I hope that everybody has the most amazing and extraordinary day, and get the book. See you later.